Alrighty. Good afternoon. Mile marker 224 over 5, I-80 eastbound in Nebraska. We got about 33 miles up here to Elm Creek, exit 257. Where we're going to stop and do a quick load check. And then after that, we got about 176 miles to Gretna, Nebraska, where we're going to stop for the day. So we're going to be just about 450 miles. We stop here in Gretna. So about 627-ish miles. $626 miles, just about that when we make our stop in Gretna. We stop up here in Elm Creek. We'll have basically 16 and a half hours left on our 70. We'll have a little over 6 hours, or a little under 6 hours for our day, and we'll have just about 4 hours and 10 minutes of drive time for the day. But Monday, because we started on Monday, we've been a little bit more judicious with our use of our hours. We will have plenty of time for a full day's drive, and we're going to be recouping the 7th day back from there on in. So we will not have to stop for a 34-hour reset, which is why we're driving today. If I'd gone faster before this, we'd have a whole heck of a lot less time available to us. We would not make the progress that we would like to make. So we went a little bit slower so we can go a little bit faster. We're at 420.2 miles so far for the day. We left out of Rawlins, Wyoming this morning. We're coming from Tacoma, Washington. We're going down to Bartow, Florida. So about 3,400 miles, just about. A nice long trip. After we get stopped here, tonight, we still have about 1,400 miles to go. We'll do a big day on Monday, big day on Tuesday. Deliver in Bartow, Florida, which is a little bit south of Winter Haven, Haines City, which is a little bit south of Orlando. And then we will see, hopefully we get a load going right back up to the Atlanta area, take the weekend off, preferably, so it really doesn't interrupt, you know, the work week. Oh, pardon. But we'll see what we can do. So after we stop here in Elm Creek, when we get back on the road, we're going to pass by the Gateway Arch, or whatever they're calling it. I think it's called the Gateway Arch. Not the arch there in St. Louis. This one goes over the highway. Corn Palace Arch, the Pioneers Arch, or I forget what they're calling. Been under it, going east and west multiple times. There's a museum in there. There is a bit of truck parking and, you know, visitor parking. I think that's probably one of the places that, you know, as a truck driver, I pass by all the time. But I've never had the time to actually stop them. The flatbed chick stopped there. It was more, about 3 or 4 years, about 2 or 3, 4 years ago, something like that. Just did a quick little tour of it. But that's the only one that I know of. But like I said, that's one of the places that I pass, you know, Devil's Tower, Meteor Crater, Hoover Dam, you know, White Sands, Alamo, you know, places like that, you know, that are Americana, that are natural, you know, wonders. I think that's the kind of stuff me and my wife are going to take time, and we'll make an effort to stop at those places, to see those places, to learn about those places. It'll be nice not having to rush everywhere, you know, just for work, and not being able to see some of those places that have a bit of interest for me. Like I said, how many times have I passed, you know, Devil's Tower and not been able to stop at it? You know, the Grand Canyon, Backwoods. How you doing? Welcome to Nebraska. Now, how many of the places that I just, either I don't have the time, or B, I'm never close enough to these places that are interesting. Or if I do have the time, and I am close enough, I can't get the truck in there. Yeah, just some of the things that well, yeah, that's part of the problem of doing this on the road. Oh well, we just do as we can do. I said about another 20 miles here, we're going to stop in Elm Creek. Make sure all of our binders and chains are secure, our straps are tight. We got 3 Sany, S-A-N-Y, Sany mini excavators. SY50OU is the model number for all 3 of these. Bring these from the port of Tacoma. We're taking these all the way to Bartow, Florida. Holy mackerel! And there's your cornfield off to the left there. And this is basically typical / stereotypical, because if you want to see it with both eyes, stereotypical Nebraska here. Got more than a truck length, so it's not easy to get over. Here we go. So like I said, we got another about 2.5 hours after we stop here. So we're looking at about, well, we're going to stop here. It's going to be just about 2:15 when we stop here. So 4:15, 4:45-ish when we get to Gretna. That'll be a good 600+ mile day. Lordy. But at least we got some sunshine today. We still got plenty of clouds, but at least we got a little bit of sunshine today. Basically this whole past week, getting up into Washington State, deal with rain up there, and then having it follow us back, at least all the way into Wyoming. Now we got a little bit of blue sky here now, so we can enjoy that. And we're rolling along 70 miles an hour, 1500 RPM, 18th gear, which on the stick shift, position number 4. We are in 8 high, so that means position 4, selector up, splitter forward. And that's 18th gear, that's our top gear. And if you looked at the the pattern on the stick shift, it looks like a W sitting on top of the letter M. Okay? So 3 on top, all the neutral in the middle, and 3 on the bottom. And the way I classify, this is not standard, this is the way I classify it to explain it to other people. All the way to the left and all the way to the forward. Okay? All the way closest to me and all the way forward. That's position R, position reverse. All the reverse gears lay there. Now technically, there are 4 reverse gears. Reverse high with a high-low, reverse low with a high-low. You can't really use them all because the vehicle won't go that fast in order to be able to get into the high gears. You know, on high, high, or high, low, and high, high. It just really will not get in there as a practical use of it. So this is what is called an 18-speed gearbox, but technically there's more than that. So we've already shown there's 4 gears there. Then straight down and all the way to the left, we have low, which we only have 2 gears selectable of that. There are 4 there that you can get into, but you have low, low, and low, high. That's typically considered gear 1 and 2. And I call that position 0. So position 0, 1 and 2. You will never use the selector. You'll only use the splitter on that. Now we are in. This is the lower side of the gearbox. Okay, low, low, and low, high. Those are on the lower side of the gearbox. Right. Gear 1 through 10. Right. So, and then now we're gonna move up into gear 3, which is splitter down or selector down, splitter to the rear, up into position 1, which is the center of the W, if you're looking at it, in the middle, center of the W, forward. You pull the splitter forward, you pull your splitter forward, which is the gray button on the side, pull your splitter forward, that moves you into gear 4, which is position 1, selector down, splitter forward. That's gear 4. Then when you want to shift into gear 5, you pull the splitter to the back. You let off the fuel just a tad. I mean, very minute, just barely perceptible. Just let off the fuel just a tiny bit, which takes the pressure off of the transmission. You pull the gear lever all the way to the back into position 2, which is now going to be 5th gear. Splitter down, selector down, splitter to the rear. And then you pull forward for 6, then you shift up into 7th with the splitter back, all the way over to the right, all the way forward. Selector down, splitter to the rear. That in position 3, that's your 6th gear. Or, I'm sorry, that's your 7th gear. Splitter forward, 8, straight back, splitter to the rear, that's 9, splitter to the front, that's 10. Now, we're going to move from position 4 on the low range, 10th gear. We're going to pull the selector up. We're going to pull the splitter all the way to the rear. We're going to shift up into position 1. Now, because that selector is little flipper is pulled upwards, that is now 11th gear. And then you run through that same process of moving the splitter back and forth and shifting into the different positions. 1, 2, 3, and 4 will take you from 11th gear up to 18th gear. And all of that, every single one of them shiftings, after you started rolling, is done without pressing the clutch. Right? The clutch pedal does not get touched unless you're pretty much below 20 miles an hour. Once this truck starts rolling, I never touch the clutch. Only when I'm in like stop and go traffic, in a parking lot, at a red light or a stop sign, whatnot. That's the only time I touch the clutch. All other shifting is what we call floating. Okay, just you let off the gas, the fuel just a little bit. You have a little bit of pressure in the direction you want to go on the stick shift. And then, once that pressure comes off, bang, the stick will go into the appropriate gear. You press back on the fuel, it fully engages, and you're off. It works going up and down the gears. Like I said, the only thing you have to worry about is that starting to move, going from 0 up to like 2 miles an hour. Once you get that clutch, fully engaged, the transmission is mated directly to the engine. You don't have to worry about touching the clutch. They teach you in CDL school to double clutch. That's a pain in the neck. It's not necessary. Modern transmissions, they just don't need it. It doesn't do it any good to quickly touch it, take it out of gear, touch it again to put it in gear. It doesn't do it. It doesn't help you to do that. There's no benefit to doing that. Now, when I was at CDL school, I got double clutching down to being pretty good at it. It wasn't perfect. It's not like shifting a synchro mesh gear, a transmission that's in, like I said, this Nissan here, or any of these other cars out here with a typical manual transmission. It's not a synchro mesh gear. Doesn't require double clutching. It's just a lot easier, a lot smoother to shift gears because of the way the gear teeth are designed. Now, in a vehicle like this, they do not have synchro mesh. They're basically closer to being straight cut gears. So shifting is a little bit different. But with the air assist that's in the transmission that does all that shifting for the most part, it doesn't require you to touch a clutch. Like I said, you take a little bit of pressure from the engine, you let off the fuel a little bit, the RPMs fall a little bit, that reduces the pressure coming from the engine to the transmission. You move your stick into where you want it to go. You move your selector and or your splitter, and it does it all behind the scenes, And it's an easy way to drive. Oh my God, it's so hard to drive a stick shift. No, it's not. In fact, in my view of it, my personal experience, quote unquote, it's actually easier to drive this 18-speed truck than it is to drive any manual transmission car I ever had. VW Jetta, Jeep Wrangler, a Chevy short bed pickup, a Subaru Legacy. This is actually easier to drive than all those other vehicles I've had. know, because I don't have to think about my foot going down and timing all that. You know, I just let off the fuel a little bit. I mean, like I said, just a millimeter of just letting that pressure off just enough. Put, you know, having a little bit of pressure on the stick while you're doing that. Then once that pressure comes off, the handle goes right into where you want it to go. And as long as your RPM of your engine is right where it needs to be, the speed that you're rolling down the highway is where you need it to be, it's not a problem. Entering Buffalo County, Nebraska. And our stop here is about 2.3 miles up the road. We're going to pop in there. We're going to get out. We're going to check our chains and our binders. Make sure, you know, we started the day with 3 mini excavators. I did not hear, see, feel, smell, sense with my psychic powers that anything has fallen off the truck. So we should be good. But we're going to check it anyway. A, it's just good sense to do so. B, it's part of the regulations as a flatbed driver. We are required to, by the regulations found in the green book.
In half a mile, take exit 257 on the right.
So the federal motor carriers something, blah, 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 safety administration. That big, you know, everybody gets the small version. Pick up the big green, the big full-size version. You'd be surprised what it says in that book. You know,
take the first exit on the right onto Highway 183.
now, technically, this stopped being a Pilot Flying J.
Speed limit reduced ahead.
But we're going to stop where it's like we're not getting any fuel, we're not doing anything else, we're just checking our load.
First left onto Highway 183.
So like I said, you know, the Federal Motor Carriers Safety Administration manual with all the rules and regulations in it. You know, that dictates when you have your load exposed, as you know, flatbedders do, you're required to stop and check how secure your load is. Now, I don't think that's exactly the best way to have it. If you're going to do it to flatbed drivers, you ought to be doing it to like this vehicle in front of us, this van driver. One, they can stack stuff in there all kinds of loose.
Turn left onto Buffalo Creek Road.
Which doesn't make any sense because I've driven van, I've driven loads that, oh, you don't need to secure it, it's inside. Well, it still could fall over. You know, a 10,000 pound roll of paper that's 8 foot tall, you go around a corner too fast, it's going to fall over, and it's going to go right through that millimeter of, you know, of metal that's on the sidewall. There ain't nothing that's catching that. You know, the little sidewall is not there for securement, but the FMCSA seem to think that that's okay. You know, so they don't have to check their loads ever. I said we're not stopping here for anything other than a quick load check. So I'm not worried too much about we're not going to be in anybody's way, per se. We're just going to pop in, pop out type affair. Make my little log note here. We're going to put our computer our ELD logs. We're going to tell them we're changing our status to inspection. There we go. So it is now 1:19. Load check. We're at the 1:09. We are in Elm Creek, Nebraska, 375921, 449.0 miles for the day. We're just going to leave that like that. Take that. So here's our load. Tight. We're just going to check all these connections here. Make sure nothing's loose. We're going to be looking at our tires, our straps. We're looking at everything here. We still got our mud flaps on. And the same for this side. We got these Sannies here. We got 1, 2, and 3, so we are good to go. Good. Still got to fix this where the guy hit me there in Atlanta 3 weeks ago. All right. Plug that back in there. So we're at the 1:09 here in Elm Creek. Alrighty, so now
Dirt road en route.
Off to Gretna with 2.5 hours even, it's saying. So we're starting in position 1. Selector down, splitter backwards, which is gear number 3. Gear 4. Down into 5. 6.
Speed limit reduced ahead.
7. 8. 9.
Speed limit reduced ahead.
And 10. Like I said, after we got rolling, no clutch. The clutch does nothing for you. It doesn't give you any advantages. It only takes more energy. That's wholly unnecessary. And now, the only time we're going to touch it now is that we're at the stop. We'll wait for this guy here. Wish he'd make up how fast he's going to go. Yeah, if you maintain your speed, it'd be a lot better for everybody. So here, position 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Split her up, split her back, select her up into 11, 12. We just passed 20 miles an hour. Down to the 13.
Turn at the first left onto I-80 east toward Kearney.
Bring her back down into 11th gear. Doing 15 miles an hour around the curve here. Back to 12, 13, 14, 30 miles an hour. 15, 40 miles an hour. 45 into 16th.
Enter highway onto I-80 East.
50 miles an hour, 52, down into 17. And pull our splitter forward, 60 miles an hour, up into 18th gear. And this will take us all the way up to 1500 RPM at 70 miles an hour. It's as easy as that. It's not a difficult thing to do. It's like the immortal, it's like Rex Kramer says. Granted, it applies to airplanes, but flying an airplane is like riding a bike. It's just a lot harder to put baseball cards in the spokes. Driving a truck is the same thing. And if you know that reference, you're all right. What's the weather conditions? Sluggish with little ice. You don't know how much he hates you, how you hate his guts. You don't know how much he hates your guts. One of the funniest movies ever, Airplane. Oh, Lord. So like I said, we got about 2.5 hours to go to 2:25 in the afternoon. We'll get there just before 5 o'clock. I got most of all the laundry done yesterday there in Rollins. Oh, pardon me. We are going to have ourselves hopefully a warmer night tonight. Fingers crossed. And tomorrow, I might be able to get to Paducah tomorrow, maybe. And Paducah would be best. Let's see here. Let's see, this is saying about 618 miles to Paducah, so that should be doable. And Paducah is at exit 3 on I-24, just inside Kentucky, south of Illinois. So it shouldn't be too big of a hassle to get there. And then that leaves 860 miles to go. So we'll probably get down to Jackson or maybe Lake City. They're in Georgia. Somewhere off I-75 there in Georgia, right before the Florida border. We should get around to that area. like I said, we'll figure out what we're going to do on Tuesday. Wednesday, we'll have a little bit of a day. You know, 3/8 to a half a day drive on Wednesday morning. On Wednesday, make our delivery, and hopefully by that time we have another load. So 456 miles we've done so far, 169 miles to go. I said just about 2.5 hours from Elm Creek to Gretna. I mean, we'll be passing by York, which we've stayed at many a times there in York. We actually spent a Christmas there once, which was not fun, but you know, it's trucking, so you got to, you know, it is what it is. This is where the arch is. We're going to pass under here in a few miles. Tomorrow is another 600, plus mile day. Doing about 625 today. Tomorrow's about 618, plus a couple, for the on ramps, off ramps we got to take. We got to deal with Kansas City, St. Louis. We got to deal with a little bit of that. But overall, it should be a fairly easy day. Tuesday, we'll get into, we'll be in Kentucky, Tennessee, and Georgia. I-24. We got to go up and down Monteagle. There in Tennessee. Around mile marker 135-ish. Then we got to deal with Chattanooga. We got to deal with Atlanta, and being near Macon. Oh, pardon me. Oh, excuse me, man. But fairly routine and boring. Monteagle is a pretty steep climb. On both sides, the north and south side of the mountain. Fairly steep climbs. So we'll set the truck up properly when we get ready to go up. On top of the mountain, we're going to be stuck at 55 miles an hour. Coming down the other side, we're going to be limited to, I think with the weight I have, I'll probably be stuck around 35 miles an hour, I think. I'm carrying around 36,000 pounds. So we're looking at around 71,000 pounds for the truck. So I think we're going to be at like 35 miles an hour going downhill is what we're required to do. Pardon me. But then we get the joy of joys of dealing with Atlanta traffic. You know, that's actually worse than St. Louis is. St. Louis sucks, but it's not as bad as Atlanta. Kansas City, I've never really had a problem going through or around Kansas City, so that shouldn't be too bad. But of course, we'll figure out where we're going to stop along the way. You know, our load checks and a 30-minute break. It'll be a typical day tomorrow and Thursday into Wednesday. We'll get all three of these delivered to the same location. Get our paperwork signed and we're out of there. Hopefully, I'll have a load from Marteau, Florida area back up to Atlanta. And if we get a load, you know, early enough in the day, it's close enough, we can go pick it up, make our way north up towards the Atlanta area, get delivered on Thursday, and then we'll just take the weekend off and pick up a new load Monday. Now, the last 2 times, or actually the last 3 times, we've had to go out to Athens, Georgia, to the Caterpillar factory. And the last 2 times, those loads were going to San Diego, California. So there is a slight possibility of that happening again. I don't particularly want to go to California, but work is work. Okay. So we're going to see the arch here in a moment. There you can see it past this bridge here. Which would be nice if this bridge wasn't here. If they made that an underpass, that'd be a little bit better, but Kearney, Sandhill Crane Capital of the World. And there you can see the arch, nice and clear. And like I said, up in the structure there is a museum. And there's a bit of truck parking and your regular parking on the north side of the highway, so on the westbound side. Archway Monument. Nebraska Firefighters Museum and Education Center, which I've never seen anybody in there, but there you go. And you can get access to it at this exit right here. Exit 275 on I-80. Easy on, easy off. Not a big deal, but don't have time to swing in and look at it, as per usual. Alright, well that's about as much excitement as I can stand. I'm sure you guys are bored as well. So until later, God bless. Have a good, safe rest of your day, and we'll see you later.